G'day again, my name's Paul Morrison and great to have you join us for these Stronger Together conversations in conjunction with creating communities. We've been talking to professionals and leaders throughout the community to help us navigate this season of COVID-19, and joining us is Dr. Bruce Robinson. He's the founder of the Fathering Project, amongst other things, and I've recently discovered a lung specialist, Dr. Bruce.
Hey, Maura.
Good to have you with us. Now tell us a bit, obviously to start with, as a doctor and being a lung specialist, some of the concerns about the spread of this virus throughout the community.
Yeah, it's obviously occupying, my department, the pulmonary department at Charlie Gardner, is obviously at the front line of these viral pneumonias that are coming in. So it's occupying a lot of our time. We've divided the team into people who are caring, basically dirty and clean. Some of the team members looking after the COVID-19 patients. Others looking after the rest of the patients who come in. But no, it's a worry, and certainly, Maura, it's pretty frightening when you look at those pictures from Italy and New York of patients basically dying all over the place, and even scarier when you look at pictures in the streets of Jakarta with Indonesians dying on the street, on the pavement, So yeah, let me just say one thing, Maura, about this. We're all, standing up to help. That's what we do. That's what we're trained for. But it was a beautiful thing on the news the other night when people in England, in London, stood on their balconies and waved and shone some lights for the health workers. Most of the health workers are busy in the hospitals, but the ones that are on the street, at least it was acknowledging that. And I heard on the ABC News last night, I thought, is this true? 50 doctors had died of COVID-19 in the pandemic there. So, I guess it's kind of nice when people don't take you for granted, But it's hard work and it's pretty scary work for people, and I've got to acknowledge the nurses here, Maura. They're the ones who are there all day long. The doctors come in and out, but these are wonderful people who, like soldiers, who are getting out of the trench and getting into the battle and getting wounded in the process, or taking the risk of getting wounded.
No, you're right, Bruce, and certainly as a community, there's people losing jobs and work as the economy's being affected, while the people you manage are busier than ever. How is the morale amongst the medical fraternity?
I think it's pretty good. There's a certain amount of fear, but it's kind of what we do, Maura. We've had viral pneumonia patients forever, so we all get gowned up and we go in there with all this protection on and hope that we don't get it. I'd say the morale's pretty good. There's obviously a few concerns, the main one being whether we're going to run out of masks and ventilators. If you run out of ventilators, there's just nothing you can do. So I think the concerns are more for the patients, not for the team. The morale's pretty good.
And obviously one of the strategies as we try and flatten the curve or lessen the impact on the medical system is this social distancing and people can't meet together in groups. What do you think on the impact this will have on the broader community as we effectively have to isolate ourselves more from one another?
Well, it all depends, Mauro, on how well people handle it. So, for example, my daughter had her birthday on Sunday, and it was really hard not to go around and everyone hug each other and all the grandkids. But we organised a Skype family meeting, and it was kind of fun actually, and you can do all sorts of things on Skype. You can have we rolled a dice and had some questions and all that sort of stuff. It was a bit harder for the girls who are primary age. They really wanted to hug everyone, so they got a bit sad. But, it depends on how well you handle it. So we're setting up a regular family Skype time with everybody. And each person will facilitate that in turn, and ask people, something special about the last week or whatever. And then my wife and I are setting up special Zoom times with each of the grandkids, so that they can at least talk to their grandparents and we can have a bit of fun with them and stay connected. So sure, it's not optimal, but every challenge creates an opportunity.
Yeah.
Every challenge in life creates an opportunity to grow and learn, and I think families will potentially come out of this being different, being more connected. And for example, one of the things that families can do is to Skype or FaceTime or Zoom, whatever, their grandparents who might be in a home somewhere, and the grandkids can talk to their grandparents in ways that they might not necessarily do if life was just swirling around normally.
Yeah.
So in terms of connectedness, there's all sorts of things that you can do that maybe, and you would learn how to do it and hopefully keep doing them afterwards.
Now, on that tact of family, I mentioned in the beginning that you obviously a huge part of the Fathering Project, the founder there. What are some of the things you see fathers are up against now that they're perhaps working from home, their children are at home? I've talked with some guests who are saying, we've got the dream, we want to spend more time with the kids, now we've got it.
Yes. Again, it's what you do with the time. It is kind of fun. My wife sent me something today about the virus has managed to do what mothers and women have been trying to do for ages, which is to stop men watching sport, spend more time at home and spend more time with the kids.
Yeah, I saw that. It was
good old coronavirus, yeah. I guess just a few things from the Fathering Project about dads, or mums for that matter, at home. And obviously it's a worry for the parents because often it's their business and their work that may be threatened. So, and good on the government for taking some of the pressure off there. But also worry for the kids, kids are worried about viruses and, human beings always worry about plagues. That's something generic, I think. But one of the risks is just to let the time drift on, every day drift on. And parents should remember that at school, kids have a schedule. Mm. And that schedule has about 4 things, and you should make that schedule happen at home during the week. One of the things is they work in the classroom. So there's got to be times when they work. Not watching TV or just FaceTiming or screen timing, but they're working. Then a bell rings and they socialise. So set up a time essentially where a bell rings and they socialise. And that's when they can be FaceTiming their friends or their grandparents or whatever. And then there's a time when they eat. And again, really important, the family eats together and doesn't just grab a snack and go back to their room. They eat together and that's a great time to talk and share what's going on and have a laugh. And then the 4th thing they do is exercise. Of course, lunchtime, run around, throw a frisbee, whatever kids do at school. We used to kick a footy or play cricket or, all that stuff. And so scheduling regular exercise. Now, that might be bike riding or whatever, but if you can't do that because of lockdown, then you can do the exercise at home, in the yard or whatever, and have some fun doing it, but just some sort of exercise. Point is, you have to schedule it. Don't let it drift or it won't happen. One other thing more to say about that scheduling creates security in kids. Mm. It creates a feeling of security and it gives a fantastic opportunity for families to talk together, to listen, say, Paul, mate, how's it going for you this week? How'd you go with your friends? What did Grandma say when you rang her? Are you worried about anything? Or a great opportunity for kids to learn how to have a family meeting. That's a good one. Have a family meeting once a week. Not a boring, corporate board meeting, but a family meeting where you just say, how's it going this week? We used to have them every Sunday morning. We called them family breakfast. And there was always at least 3 Ps. Problems. Yeah, he's being mean to me. I'm not getting enough pocket money. But before they said that, the first P was praise. What's gone well for you this week? Or what's Paul done really well or Bruce done really well this week that you appreciate? Mm-hmm. Praise. Then your problems. He's being mean to me. He took my jigsaw puzzle. And then finally plans. What's your plan for the next week? Kids often don't like to make plans, but teach them how to make plans. 3 Ps. Praise. Teaches kids how to affirm and appreciate other people. Problems. Everyone listens to the problems. And then plans. What are your plans for the next week?
Right.
Family meetings. Great opportunity for this sort of thing. And one more thing, sorry.
You go.
Get a book and write down what the kids say. That'll be a record you'll keep forever.
Yeah. Very good. We've been calling these conversations Stronger Together. As we wrap this up, Bruce, how do you think as a community we are going to be stronger together going forward?
I think we could be stronger or weaker, Mauro. I think communities are like people. We always say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That's not necessarily so. What doesn't kill you can actually make you weaker. So for something to make you stronger, a challenge or something in life, some form of suffering to make you stronger as a person, as a family, or as a community, you have to be intentional about making that so. Asking what are we learning from this, and that's again where those family meetings are great. And as a community, I think there are ways in which we can be stronger. And mostly we've talked today about the family in lockdown, but part of the idea of community, I think, when we talk about social time, for example, we talked about kids FaceTiming their grandparents, but there's lots of lonely people out there, especially elderly. Be great for every family to have a list of them. You know, maybe they're friends of their grandparents or somebody, and the kids could ring. And here's a great idea. Don't just ring and say, oh, what's happening for you? Say, tell me about where you grew up, Grandma. Tell me about what primary school was like for you. Tell me about where you and Grandpa met, or something interesting about their life story. And that could be staying connected to anyone in the community. I mean, it's such an easy thing to ask someone something about their life story. I mean, you could randomly find any old person in the community and say, hi, my name's Paul Morrison, and I'm just ringing on behalf of, 98.5 FM or Creating Communities or whatever. I'm not, someone said you'd be interested in the call. How's it going where you are? Can I ask you about your childhood? Where did you grow up, and what sort of fun things did you do as a kid, and where'd you go to school? I mean, it's so easy to talk about it. People love telling their story. That's an example of how you can create communities through this time.
Great, Bruce. So much gold there, and you've covered some great ground. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us today. You take care.
Pleasure. All the best. See you.
Dr. Bruce Robinson there from the Fathering Project. Also as a doctor, he's right across the COVID-19 pandemic. Remember to stick around and follow these conversations on your Creating Communities platform, Stronger Together. Until then, stay safe. I look forward to chatting again soon. Remember to follow the government's advice around COVID-19, taking care of yourselves and your loved ones. We are stronger together.